Module 5 covers Chapter 10 on aggression and Chapter 11 on group performance. Social psychologists define aggression as behavior that is intended to harm another individual who does not want to be harmed. The key element here is intent to harm. There are several types of aggression, and aggression can be physical or non-physical, for example, verbal or relational. Aggression may or may not be planned. Emotional aggression, for example, is often impulsive. Think about road rage. Instrumental or cognitive aggression is planned and is aimed at getting a reward. For example, I might want to get money, so I rob a bank. And while doing it, I shoot a security guard. I shot the guard because they were blocking access to what I wanted, money. Why are humans aggressive? Is it inevitable? While it may be evolutionarily adaptive, survival of the fittest, much if not most aggression people engage in is not adaptive. We have biological influences for aggression, our brains and hormones, but other non-biological factors have very important roles. For example, negative emotion and experiences can lead to aggression. This is why when we're in pain or physically uncomfortable, we're more likely to aggress. Frustration can lead to aggression as well because we're prevented from reaching our goals. There's a very common belief that we can reduce aggression through catharsis, which is the idea that we need to get all of our aggression out. So instead of punching our boss, we punch a pillow. Note that this is still aggression, but the idea is that it's a safe form. However, this is not accurate. Aggression tends to breed aggression, so catharsis is not effective. Much aggression is learned, so if we are reinforced for aggression or see others reinforced for engaging in aggression, this increases the likelihood that we too will engage in aggression in the future. There's a massive amount of aggression in television and the movies, and much of it engaged in by quote-unquote good guys, which reinforces that aggression is acceptable. And we know after many years of research that those who consume large amounts of aggressive media tend to be aggressive themselves. Some people find aggression more acceptable, perhaps because they've been rewarded for it in the past. Levels of aggression also differ by culture. Men tend to be more physically aggressive than women. The reasons for this continue to be debated. Is it because of higher levels of testosterone? Is it because of learning? Boys learn it's more acceptable to use aggression. But in general, some people are more aggressive than others. But the social situation may either increase or decrease the likelihood that aggression actually occurs. How do we prevent or reduce aggression? Punishment actually doesn't work so well. To be effective, punishment must be swift and certain, and it rarely is. We know that violence breeds violence, so reducing exposure to violence decreases the likelihood that someone will behave aggressively. We also need to help people learn to control their emotions and how they deal with frustration. If we can reduce frustration, we can also reduce aggression. Chapter 11 is on working groups, performance and decision making. People spend a lot of time in social groups. In social psychology, we define a social group as a set of individuals with a shared purpose and who normally share a positive social identity. Not every gathering of people is a group. For example, all the passengers on Flight 127 are not a group unless Flight 127 crashes in the mountains and they have to decide together how to survive. Groups have certain characteristics. One is a sense of groupiness, that people see themselves as a group. Also, group members tend to have something in common, similarities, so that's why they're part of the group. Members interact and communicate with each other. So for Flight 127, they initially do have something in common. They're all traveling to the same location, but they may not see themselves as a group or interact or communicate much with each other. But if the airplane crashes and they're reliant on each other for survival, then they see themselves as a group, having something in common, the need to survive, and they must interact and communicate with each other to do that. Luckily, most groups do not form because of airplane crashes. They're more deliberate. You form a group at work to complete a project, you have a group of friends you socialize with, or join with others for a cause you care about. Much of the research in social psychology on groups has examined working groups and performance. Do we perform better in a group or by ourselves? The very first experiment in social psychology examined this. Do bicyclists perform better when they're in a group or alone? The tendency to perform tasks better or faster in the presence of others is known as social facilitation. However, sometimes the presence of others can hinder performance. There are several explanations, and that is included in Chapter 11. Group performance is also impacted by the task at hand and the characteristics of those who are involved in the group. These are then impacted by coordination and motivation. Groups that share information and resist conformity tend to perform better. Contrary to what you may have learned, group brainstorming isn't necessarily a best practice when it comes to developing creative decisions. The research does not show that it produces more effective ideas. In fact, brainstorming may actually reduce creativity. Feel free to share this information the next time you're asked to brainstorm ideas. What does improve group performance? Appeals to self-interest, such as providing rewards for performance. Belief that work is visible and valuable. Keeping groups small, 4 to 5 members is ideal. Improving communication and information sharing. Setting difficult but attainable goals. Finally, does diversity increase or decrease performance? On one hand, similarity can be useful, but similarity can also lead to conformity and groupthink. A diversity of experiences and ideas may improve creativity and performance. However, highly diverse groups may have lower social identity and cohesion.